They say money changes people. I disagree. I believe money takes off the mask that someone has worn, the facade that they've always wanted to bring along when they are going to confront the world. Money shows us the real face of the person that we have never known. They say, Serumula is a torch, an old torch made using oil and fire, so you'll have a flame that you hold. They say when you go, that's the literal translation, that when you go to a lion, you go with that. So there are people who look at life, at challenges as that lion, metaphorical lion, something that they believe can overcome. And so when they have to confront the world, they confront it with a torch, a flaming torch. And we say, so and so is a humble person. So and so is has got a very great personality. But you find that the truth is they are just not having money. They are humble because they need you to help them through situations. They project an image of humility because, in a way, some of the things they want to achieve, they cannot achieve without humbling themselves, without projecting that image of humility. Because people will always want to lift. When you're lifting something that's at the bottom and you're taking it to a higher position. So you are not going to try and lift something that projects itself as being above you. So people have realized that, and they project an image of humility, an image of not knowing, an image of Khonara as a way of really being picked up. So money, when it comes in, it reveals the true character. You start seeing a whole different person, somebody you've never known, somebody you wouldn't have liked if you met in the first time around, and you say, money changed the person. It didn't change the person, it revealed the person behind the mask. It revealed the mzekezeke behind the mask. Now, it ends up with people having difficulty, really. I know of some cultures or some people within a patriarchal system who say, look, when you get married to a woman who went, let's say, up to grade 12, they say, no, don't take her to school, because history has shown them that when you take a woman to school, the moment she graduates with that degree, she's going to start shenanigans. She might actually end up divorcing you. And now we've got men who don't do that. Men who want the ones who didn't go to school, and so they can keep them in that position. They can keep them in that position because they believe the moment you start giving her education and she's got more money, the moment she starts earning higher than you, she's going to show you her true colors. Well, she's going to show you her true colors, not because she's earning higher than you, but because she has always been successful in hiding her true colors. And now she's taking off the fake color and showing the true colors. And it's not really something that speaks to she's, it also speaks to his. That, I have a friend, very beautiful, very beautiful. She stays in Nelspruit, and we have conversations, we have deep conversations sometimes. She said, look, I know of guys who were hustling, really just, things were not combining. And they got this woman, and they started dating, they even maybe actually end up getting married. And this woman sticking by this man, they have kids, sticking by this man. Sometimes this man will bring a loaf of bread, chicken pieces, a tin of fish. Sometimes he wouldn't even have money for electricity. This woman will stick by this man. This man will be busy chasing opportunities. And this woman will stick by this man. And she says, now, when this man starts getting the bigger money, either way how he gets the money, he starts wanting more women. And when the woman who's stuck by him says, but baby, that's not you. He'll say, no, if you can't handle this lifestyle, it's no longer a life, it's a lifestyle. If you can't handle this lifestyle, you know the door, you can pack and leave. Just don't take my car with you. Because maybe at that point, he could afford to buy the woman car or cars. Just take your thing and leave. Live as you came. And she came broke. She found him broke. But now he's saying, live as you came. And at the end of the day, you find that some men are fine, are monogamous when they don't have anything. They become polygamous when they start accumulating a lot of money. And monogamy, not as in men having concubines, not in men having girlfriends. Concubines is something as a French term for a mistress, whereby a man has a wife and he has got a mistress. And the mistress is known to the wife, but they don't stay in the same house. The mistress might be staying there, the wife stays with the man. And it's an arrangement that really happens. It's a French tradition, but I'm talking about girlfriends. Look, I think it's better when as a man you reach a certain level and you feel you've got money and you really feel your eggs need not be in one basket and you feel you want to have 20 kids maybe and you can afford to take care of them so that they can end up taking care of a legacy. You feel like a Rupert Murdoch, but Rupert doesn't have a lot of kids, but just that he handed over a lot of the functions of his companies to them. Or you feel like a Donald Trump. You want to have kids so that your kids can take over the empire. And you can do that, but you don't need to do that with girlfriends. If you are married, do that with the wife. If you are not married or you've never been married, maybe you can find another arrangement of doing it. But you find this African man, he doesn't have shit. He's hustling, he's living by, sometimes not hustling, he's living from a salary. 13 checks a year. And he's got daughters. He's got 6 daughters. And he keeps on saying, Mfune indlalifa, kinyaka mujalifa, trying hard, and then to the point that he's going to end up in a tiff with the madam, goes out, gets a girlfriend, and impregnates her, gets a woman, gets a girl, and ends up with all these other girlfriends, impregnating them and saying, I'm looking for indlalifa because you, the wife, you cannot give me indlalifa because he believes he's got money. Men who don't have money talk about indlalifa. And you ask yourself, what lifa are you talking about and talking about the salary? Indlalifa, uzodlani, indlu mhlupheko. Like, it's like you're giving back to somebody just going to inherit your poverty. Because there's a saying I like to say, look, there are things we inherited from our parents. There are things they inherited from their parents. It's been going down. People have been inheriting things. But if we find ourselves in a situation where we don't have, now, you don't have, you're conscious, you don't have, that must not be what your children inherit. Inheritance doesn't mean 0. Inheritance means 1 plus 10. You can inherit 20, 30. When you've got 0, be careful because your shenanigans are just going to result in a lot of problem. And, at the end of the day, it boils down to you've been fine with a woman. Now you have money and you want to take 3 or 4 women, wives. And in South Africa, we tend to make role models about that. There is a guy, I don't want to mention names. It's not my style. I'm more about the quality of the discourse than the dropping of names. They even give them television shows. And you explore how that polygamy thing works, you find that most of the wives are not even happy about that arrangement. They're complaining, keeps on picking new wives. or ngoba nga-afford, because I can afford. And it's not that polygamy is not about affording, it's about more than that. It's about more than that. I'm not going to go deep. I'm not an advocate for or against polygamy. I know that some of the people in my family, I'm not going to sully people, tried it and it just resulted in rubbish because they could only take care of one family, they couldn't take care of the other family. And I come from a polygamous, very seriously polygamous family. That's why I don't want to mention names. But coming to the point behind the post, look, we need to work hard towards a stage whereby stick to your lane, run at your pace. Don't sell something that is not there. Don't project to us an image of being a humble person when you are not. If you're an arrogant bastard, be the arrogant bastard even without cash. Because you end up making it difficult for people to help others. You know, someone helps you because they think you're humble. They think you've got a strong personality. And when you get money, you just become rubbish. And you make that person, they say too much sacrifice makes stone of the heart. Yes, I think that's what an Irish poet said once. Too much sacrifice makes stone of the heart. You make it difficult for those that need help in the future to be helped. Simply because you didn't need help, you wanted somebody to take off your mask. And when they took off your mask, you showed the true colors. So this person who's been helping a lot of people is now going to be very careful towards helping others because he'll think this is actually like the other guy, like the guy that showed me flames. People are scared of mahokolodi because they were beaten by Silwana Seswana, and Silwana Seswana is you. Men who have changed for women, who women have had picked clean, made them into gentlemen, and now, because they're gentlemen, they smell good, bought him good cologne, and now he goes out there and he really just insults her through behavior. Wants other women, tells her to go and leave. You can leave if you want. Men who've been mentored by other men because they didn't have shit. And when they felt like they've got money, or when they got money, they just showed those other people flames, their mentors flames. So money doesn't change people. Money takes off the mask that people are wearing. So just check yourself whether you're wearing a mask or whether the person that people are dealing with is the real person. Because otherwise, if that's a mask, you're going to do serious damage to people that are going to need assistance from women and men in the future. Like and subscribe to ASAP, a South African perspective. Let's make the circle bigger.